shot forever, like including elevation portion of it, right? So when a golfer steps up to the shot, oftentimes they're stepping up from the side, so they have a really hard time setting up for their intended shot. But I would love to see a painted line almost that goes out about 15 yards.
The rope, I had that rope.
Rope
right?
is great, and
Yeah.
then you have an alignment stick, and then you have all the way up to like a telephone pole, because the highest shots peak at around 100 feet or whatever. I think the average person would gain a lot because they're looking at the ball from this angle, they're seeing it here. Technically, they're keeping their head down. The reason people struggle with incorrectly identifying their ball flight is they don't actually see it from that perspective, from TrackMan's perspective. They see it from this skewed perspective on the side. Almost every duck hook you've ever seen in your entire life started on this side of the target line. It just ended up over there. By the time your head looks up, it's over there, and the average person says, I came over top of it, and they didn't. But yeah, I think that the beginning of the whole process of golf is ball, target, intended line. TrackMan, super smart, but it's also pretty dumb. Like it only sees, a little bit of the, probably from about here, here to here, and it sees an object hit a ball and start in a direction and curve, right? So it's following it like a missile, but it can't factor in everything, right? So swing direction is where we're starting today, right? We're swinging. Can I get an orange whip?
Yeah.
This is all that TrackMan really sees. It sees an orange whip. It doesn't see anything beyond that, right? For the most part, it just sees an object flying, right? So people spend a whole lot of time worrying about path and face, when the very first thing that happens is this thing is swinging in a direction, right? And the bottom of that swing is somewhere near the ball, right? And it's traveling towards the target, left of the target, or right of the target. And even though Z's a lefty, for most people everything is negative is left, positive is right. Z is the opposite of that.
Well, that doesn't change. It's just
Left and right.
Yeah,
in to out, and out to in.
Right.
It doesn't change, but it's
Right.
positive and negative, right? That's really important. Positive and negative, right?
Zero.
Draw another line too. See while you're here. Just do a line this way. Yeah. For the. Be careful because that thing's got splinters. And then put a positive. Positive, negative, right. Good, right, so at the end of the day, really important concept is the club traveling down? Is it traveling out? Is it traveling up? Is it traveling left or right? And swing direction is measured, I don't know, it's like thousands of times between the time it gets the parallel to past parallel. So this area is the most measured. Most people, for the longest time, just put up path and face, which is really important. But I would say, boy, close to 100% of all amateurs have no idea what path and face means relative to swing direction and why the two numbers are different. And I would say 80% of golf pros don't either. Right? So swing direction is incredibly important, but it's also important because it's only one aspect of this. So if I'm set up over here, I'm going to have a negative swing direction whether I want it or not. And if I'm set up over here, I'm going to have a positive swing direction whether I want it or not. It's kind of impossible to overcome that. And TrackMan doesn't care what my swing looks like. It doesn't care what my alignment does. The 3D parts of TrackMan do, but they use cameras to do that. TrackMan itself doesn't care about your alignment. It doesn't care about your ball position. All it knows is a ball just left the ground in a direction and curved in a direction, and then it's doing a whole bunch of math. So what do you think about swing direction?
No, and I think it's important to understand that when we don't have TrackMan too.
Right.
Where like that's to me the most important part, and it's where I go immediately for every lesson, whether I'm inside or outside. I try to pinpoint, all right, what is his swing direction right now, think for me, I immediately go to how much is the ball curving. I think that is one of the biggest telltale signs of what the swing direction is, right? Like, if you're pretty close to zero with the swing direction, the ball's not going to curve.
Not very much.
Not very much. So that to me means great swing.
Yeah.
We probably don't have to work on the swing if it's not curving that much. Then we look to contact or
Ball
other,
position,
ball
all kinds
position,
of
other things other than that, right? So, like, if I swing one like I did there, right, out to 5, which would be 5 degrees out to this side. Just the whole unit goes to 5, right? Which, for me, get a little closed, swing here, and swing out there, and now that ball starts to swing back in and curve, right? That's a sharp curving ball. Most of the time, you'll see that from a righty on this side, swinging 19 degrees this way,
Correct.
and the ball doing that, right? If it's curving a lot, I immediately start with swing direction, and we try to get that back using that or just the club in general.
Right.
Can you show me something on the opposite side?
And are they set up on railroad tracks to start with, right? Like somebody who's like super closed or super open, first thing you do is like, why are you there? And it's often because that was their fix, right?
Right, yeah,
They-
slicer, chronic
yeah,
slicer,
chronic slicer is just gonna
open, open,
Yeah.
open.
Why?
open,
Because
open.
the ball keeps going over there, right? So he's just going to keep going over there, right? And we're not even getting into cause and effect yet. Just swing direction, right? So we have a swing direction that's close to zero, swing direction that's positive, swing direction is negative. And I don't think TrackMan does this, but if you could just get somebody to make swings without a ball, right? Just swing. Now make one go positive, make one go negative, make one go positive. Now meet in the middle. And they get somewhere near zero, but I think you need to hit a golf ball to get a swing direction number.
You do.
And because of that, they're going to still react to where the ball goes, which sucks because if they couldn't react to where the ball goes, it would be way easier,
Yeah,
right?
right. And I think that's why, like, when you guys watch lessons, like, most of the time in here, you'll see me standing up here with the rope and saying, swing towards me, like, swing like you're gonna hit me in the chest, and I keep moving this way. That's to get that feel from over here to over here, and then I can also see, like, the blur of the club
Yeah.
as it's coming
Yes.
this way or where the blur is at the bottom of the swing. It's an immediate fix. You can see, all right, the blur's way over here or it's over here, and then all we're trying to do is get it. For me, it's within 4. 4, we can just like break up. It's within 4. So anything outside of that,
Yeah,
sucks.
and the golf swing is not linear, like we talked about. But let's say you had a little curve to it, like this, right? So you had that there, and then you took another one, and you had a little curve about there. The average person would look at that and go, "There's no way I can do that. I can't swing it through there, right?"
Right.
So the average negative one is going to be over there and there. They're going to stick. That's pretty easy to do. If you want to teach someone how to draw it, get there. You're not creating a draw just yet for a lefty or a slice, but what you're doing is giving them one aspect of how do I make that swing direction change. And the easiest way to change swing direction initially is with alignment. But ball position also affects swing direction massively.
Mhm.
If a ball's really far forward in their stance, right? So go ahead and set up like your really ball's super far forward in your stance. Right? Catch somebody like that. His swing direction, just to make good contact, is gonna move towards the positive number. The opposite's true. Put it off your back foot, right? That's gonna move the club in that direction pretty substantially, right? So I think most people should try to get into the most plain vanilla setup they can, right? Just try to get to something in the middle. So
Super vanilla.
right. So if he swings from there towards the tee, he's getting closer to zero.
hard to do, but
Yeah, the
we'll
average.
also look at, once we bring that up, what club path is
Right.
compared to what that is too. That club
Correct.
path is probably -7
Yeah.
because it's so far back.
Yep.
Well,
Yep.
I think that's one of the biggest hurdles that I had to get over was, what is the difference between swing direction and club path? Because we've always been ingrained club path, club path, club path and face, club path and face. But it's actually swing direction and face for me.
And I think there's a level that, like, I know this sounds, some of this should be a little redundant to you, but when you're teaching golf initially to beginners, okay? Beginners play very open-faced golf, right? So if you just handed someone a golf club and turned it to like 45 degrees open, this is what it feels like to be a beginner golfer, right? So a beginner golfer steps up, they wouldn't set up like that, maybe they would turn their face in or whatever. The first thing that happens is like, how am I gonna make this ball go straight, right? So they start to kind of manipulate their grip and stuff like that. So inevitably, you're dealing with slicers, right? Good, as you become a more advanced instructor, you start dealing with hookers, but initially, you deal with slicers. Somebody comes to you, and we're gonna deal with right-handed hookers. They have a swing direction that is double digits to the left, right?
Always.
Yeah, so you have to walk and chew gum, which means you've gotta get this swing direction, which is over here, over to here, right? So if you did nothing at all, if you just told somebody we need to change your swing direction, they might hit that wall, right? Because there's a reason why they're swinging over there. It's back to that 45-degree open club face, right? So that's why, like, TrackMan doesn't care what your grip looks like, but as an instructor, you can't ignore it because it's, as they say, the face sends it and the path bends it. And if the face sends it to the right, you're sure as shit gonna swing to the left to be able to play reasonable golf. So as you always remind yourself is, how do I make somebody, who, you probably have done this, you've got a right-handed golfer in here that's double digits to the left. At some point during the session, you might get them double digits to the right, just to work the other side of the spectrum, so they can see what that feels like. Then you can start to work the face over or whatever. A couple different ways to go about it, right? So let's say you're back to your 45-degree open guy. Z and I teach, we'll get to the exact same place in 1 hour and take 2 different roads to get there. So if I see somebody like this, and I've watched Z do it, and he has great success getting people to stop swinging in this direction and start swinging in that direction. Once he gets them swinging in that direction, then he'll start to work the grip or the release, right? What I do is I take somebody like that, and I go there. And now when they go this way, the ball goes over there, and they instinctively go, oh shit, that wasn't what I wanted, right? So they start to kind of orient themselves and their body to make their path more that way. At the end of the session, Z's gonna have a student with a positive swing direction, with hopefully curve back to the left. I'm gonna have somebody with a positive swing direction with curve back to the left, and we got there from 2 different places and got there, and the swings will look the same. They won't even look different. It's almost like if we had identical twins and matching simulators at the end of the session, they'd end up with the same swing getting there 2 different ways, which is kind of cool. But I pay a lot of attention to club face because, Z and I were talking about this earlier, when people are on the golf course or on the driving range, they react to where the ball goes. And a beginner golfer's ball goes in that direction, period. It just does. There's no beginner golfer who hasn't been taught something who starts by hitting the ball to the left. They all hit it to the right and swing to the left. They just do. And then that becomes a self-fulfilling issue going forward, because slicers have a completely different set of issues that they have to fight through.
Agreed.
Yeah. So we have face angle, right? So face angle's important, right? What is it telling us, right? Is it telling us that our club face is closed? Is it telling you, what it's telling you is at one instant in the golf swing, the face is pointing a little bit left of the target. And I think we would be remiss if we didn't talk about degrees, because two things that happen in a simulator. One is people think that they're trying to get to zero. And when they see a ball go like that, they go, oh, that's not very good. And I'm like, no, that's really good. Like, people have no sense of how far offline good players hit it. But 6 degrees seems like a lot to people, like a lot. And how much is 6 degrees?
One on the clock.
1 second on a clock. That ain't a lot, right? That is tick tock. That's 6 degrees. Now 6 degrees in golf can be the difference between hitting a good shot and hitting it off the golf course.
Right.
So that's frightening in and of itself. But when people think that they're like crazy, I mean, when somebody's double digits offline, that's 12 degrees. That is 2 seconds on a clock. That's pretty remarkable.
So when to me, that seems like 1200.
It does.
Like, I'm gonna, like 12 is like, holy shit,
Yeah.
you're so far off.
You swung 1 to 19.
Right.
19 is like just over 3.5 seconds.
It's, yeah, 19 is, to me, is sideways.
Yeah,
I
it's
gotta go
incredible,
here.
right? Yeah. Yeah, that is really hard to do. Didn't even read it.
so far over.
So, face angle is something that I look for like over a course of a bunch of swings, right? Because if you look at a one-off, like, and I think maybe early on when people were teaching with TrackMan, they go, "Oh, my face was closed. Oh, my face was open. Oh, my face was closed. Oh, my face was open." I'm like, man, you can't chase club face.
Right.
You almost can't. What we're
Right.
looking for is the relationship. Like, so when the ball is curving from right to left or curving from left to right, it's the relationship of the face and the path, which is the curve on the golf ball, which is important. If you're going to get to be a decent golfer, or you want your students to become decent golfers, they need a curve that is somewhat repeatable.
Right.
Whether it's a fade or whatever, it doesn't really matter.
I think for me too, I actually bump club face down further than you have it in my line of like hierarchy, because I feel like once you can get swing direction right, the club path close to swing direction, which for me then sets off a chain reaction that our angle of attack should be better and our low point should be better, just because those two things get better.
I agree.
Then the face has so much gray area to hit a decent shot. Like if your path is 4, you could be anything from 4 to 0 in my mind. That's 4 degrees of gray area and still hit an awesome golf shot.
Yeah.
If it crosses over the line, then obviously it's too much. But again, like you said, that could be an anomaly. It could be a one-off, and to move it again 1 more degree to get it into the gray area, it may even just be that day. Like he just
How your
can't
body's
get the
moving.
club. Yeah, right. How your body's moving that day, your hips, you can't fire something like. Like low point
Might be the biggest.
might be the biggest after swing direction, because everything else then seems to just fall right into place, and you can fix things in 2 tiles and be done.
So if we had a question to ask you, somebody's swinging 0, right? They're lucky enough, you found a student who swings their swing direction to 0, and their low point is kind of 0. Those are pretty rare, right? That means at the bottom of the golf swing, the club is traveling at the target and hitting the ball in the ground simultaneously and going up through. That would be like Tiger Woods hitting balls on the range and not taking
the divot.
right? Just clipping it perfectly off the turf and hitting it dead straight. We just know that that's not going to happen, right? Swing direction that works away from your body. So whether it's right hand or left hand, a swing direction that works away from their body. What does that do to your low point?
Wait, sitting, swing direction.
If you
moving
swing the
away.
golf club, right? We're just swinging this object back.
Do we
and
know what
forth.
low point is first
Right.
off?
Yeah. So if we're swinging the club in away.
Hold on, we gotta.
Are you know what low point is?
Mm-mm.
All right. So
Huge.
So low point is this circle. It's lowest point, right?
Mm-hmm.
So doesn't always mean the ball. It means the lowest point, right? So really important for an iron, the low point is in front of the ball.
Where the black is.
Doesn't and I will challenge the mainstream media that I don't think everybody's low point with the driver should be back here. Like, let's just say everybody's got to be just. If it was at the ball or slightly behind the driver or a little bit ahead with the iron, everything's pretty close, right? So that means that when the club hits the ground, that is maybe not necessarily low point. It might continue to keep going through the ground
Keeps going, right?
for another inch to two, right? So a good frame of reference with an iron shot is something negative. Low point is going to read as ahead of the ball or behind the ball. That's why I like it even better than angle of attack, because it's easier to know. When you're hitting an iron shot, you want your low point to be ahead of the golf ball, which takes me back to my question. When the club is traveling away from you, that way, what does that do to your low point? You have three options. It has no impact on it, it moves it forward, or it moves it backwards. Backwards, right. So if I'm standing here like this, and you just have somebody just make back and forth swings, right? And then I slowly but surely start moving them towards Z. Good, now go the other side. Now I go, okay, now I slowly but surely have to round the corner. Okay, like that, right? Boom, there's your low point, right? If I'm at a PGA Tour event, and a guy hits this tee shot into the rough, and there's 1,000 people around, 10,000 people around, right? And he's hitting it in that direction. I can stand here, or I can stand here. Who's getting the divot in the face?
You. Yeah.
Every time. 100 out of 100. We'll never get a divot over there. Ever, not ever, ever, ever. Because they're hitting the ball, then the ground, and the club is exiting over there. That is imperative. So, in the history of the game, probably like 15 years ago when they were talking about TrackMan, they were like, swing down on your irons, hit up on your woods, hit down on your irons, hit up on your woods, and a lot of people tried that, including me. And then you look at the tour players, and they don't do that. They hit kind of down on everything. Because I think what they realized is, yes, maybe I could get a couple extra yards if I hang back and hit up on it, but I want the ball to start in my intended direction and maybe curve in my intended direction and not necessarily have two widely different golf swings. So it's the reason why, unless someone's got a very dialed in golf swing with a swing direction that's close to zero, if somebody's got a swing direction that is consistently +5, right? Which club would they be good at and which club would they suck at? Swing direction is
be good at
here.
driver, bad at irons.
Yep. Somebody who's here is good at what and maybe has to work harder on what?
Irons, they're good at.
Yep.
Driver, no.
Maybe
a little bit.
Maybe, but okay. But what do they need? What would they need to make that work with a driver? Would they tee it high? Would they tee it low? Would they hit a draw? Would they hit a fade?
That would move the ball further up.
And what would their ball flight likely be?
Low curve.
This is Brooks Koepka, right? This is Brooks Koepka with every club in the bag. He's probably minus something with everything, but you need speed. You need some amount of speed. You got a guy in the outfield who's throwing a ball, who's got a really good arm, and he can throw just a really fast ball head high. That's going to take one hop to the catcher, and then you got a guy that maybe doesn't have a great arm. He's got to throw it higher than the backstop to get to the same place. Brooks has speed, but that's a really good way to play golf. It's also a really good way to ruin someone's golf swing. If you see them hit a driver this way and go, I think you need to be over there with the driver, you'll get them quitting the game forever. So we saw that with Danny Deering yesterday, right? Danny Deering loves to hit a fade. His swing direction was over here. It's like, you might hit a fade, but it's going to go over there a lot, right? So he had to figure that out. Really important, the stack and tilt people who are incredibly smart when it comes to the dynamics of impact and how the body gets there, will tell you low point is everything. They will tell you it supersedes swing direction. So those two are incredibly important. With an iron, is there things that you can do in your setup that would move low point more forward?
Hands,
That's one thing. What else?
stance.
Stance. How about ball position?
Yeah.
Does ball position back move the low point back, or move the low point forward, or does it just, right? So most people, their low point is determined without a golf ball. They're just swinging and hitting the ground. And then the ball moves around in their stance and it might affect their trajectory. But what you don't want to do is move the ball position like crazy around in your stance, because it's just pretty inconsistent. But that's why I think, like, if you're teaching, especially on TrackMan, especially in this room, I think determining one place for their feet is really important, right? Like if you just say, this is your left heel, right? Every swing. Then I can move the ball around to different places, right? The low point of the golf swing is pretty close to like there, right? Pretty close to your left armpit, left heel. That is where the club, if you don't think about it at all, comes back to, right?
Yeah.
So back of that is going to change.
Right. I instinctively teach middle sternum to get more of an impact with that, because
Yep.
most of the time, shitty iron players are low points back, right?
Yeah.
And if we think here,
Right.
they're just not moving in their swing enough.
Enough
Where
to
the
be
ball
able to move
position-
it forward.
Enough to move it, right? So I immediately just go to, where's your sternum?
Yep.
If your sternum can be in front of the golf ball 99% of the time,
Yeah.
unless you're doing something back here where, you know,
Yeah.
casting
So
or
face
doing
them.
something
This
crazy.
is so face them for a second. So if we know that his low point is his armpit, right?
Right.
Generally speaking, this is 3 golf balls back of his armpit is the sternum. So if you put that, if we know that his armpit is his heel, right? So go over there to your heel. Yep. And I go 3 golf balls back, pretty much right on his sternum. Yep. So that is just a good rule of thumb when you're looking at someone's swing. Like, obviously, if Dave has a bad weight shift, right? Let's say he moves into his back foot and stays on his back foot. Moving the ball back here, I would not recommend just to make him happy for the day. I would still try to get him to make the right move.
Right.
But if his ball's up here, like, he's got no chance, right? So 3 golf balls back of his heel puts it right there. If he's got a reasonable stance, a reasonable swing, he's going to have a negative
Yeah.
low point in a swing direction. No, but your low point's still going to be
It's
forward.
still going to be after.
1.3 inches ahead of the ball.
And that's with a chunk, right? Like
Yep.
if I drive into it, still here.
That's more like 4 or 5. 2.5. Look at that ball flight, right?
Optimal
So,
for me,
but
right?
let's look at that. Those are amazing, because the first one, his swing direction went where? More that way, and his low point moved back. That one, his swing direction was 0, and his low point moved forward. The two things are so interconnected, you can't disassociate swing direction and low point. It's incredibly important. So the average person hits the first shot heavy. What do they do on their setup on their next swing? They move it back in their stance, right? Move it back in their stance. Well, never do that again, right? But what's that going to do to his swing direction? It's going to move his swing direction way the hell out to left field again, and then he's still fighting the same issues, right?
Exactly what happened, right?
Yep.
Swung 6 out, 4 ahead.
Yep. Where that's why golf is such a it's a moving target sometimes, because you got, okay, well, there's a ball position that is good for everybody. That's a low point that's probably 0 or behind. 2 inches behind, right? Yep.
And to move my swing direction 4 degrees.
So to me, rather than talk about 30 different variables in TrackMan, I would love to stay on these 2 topics answer questions and show you some cause and effect as to why they happen, right? So we just said,
Can I bring up club
Yeah.
path real quick?
Yeah, of
Because
course.
that, I
Yeah,
think
yeah.
that's just a common misconception.
What is the difference
What is
between
the
path and
difference,
swing
right?
direction?
Like, there I swung 0, but club path back to 0. Let's
On
go
the other side of 0 though.
other side of 0. Let's go to, where's the
Yeah.
good one?
Find one with some differential. Yeah, that's a good one. Swing direction of 0, but a path of -2. That is strictly because that's basically how the tour players, pretty close to how the tour players hit a draw, right?
the bottom of his swing is up here, right? So he's actually swinging the club more in this direction and moving the divot down, right?
Yep.
Where as opposed to swinging, say, in this direction, right? Which is moving his low point back, and his path might read considerably more that way. So the more you hit down, like this, like Scotty Scheffler hits down on the ball really aggressively. For him to hit a fade, he's probably swinging pretty far to the left. Most people, if they swing 0, if you just said, my whole life, all I want to do is swing my swing direction to 0, I would tell you that as long as your ball position is in a place where you can hit down on it, you'll hit a draw. If you moved it a couple inches forward, you'd hit a fade with the exact same swing.
I think this
Yeah.
right here is just
It's a
lights
good
out,
visual.
lights out important, right?
Yep.
So this, to me, this is overall swing direction, the swing arc.
Yeah.
Where this, what it looks like, right?
Yeah. And it's technically
At the moment,
It's
yeah,
technically
it's technically,
like that.
right, 3D version, right?
So as it's coming down,
Impact is club path. Ball position can affect club path,
and low point,
And low point.
attack angle, and
Right.
everything. Yep.
which it doesn't make a difference to this though. Like your swing direction can stay the same, club path is just where you hit it on that arc.
So Bella and I were hitting shots yesterday, and I was explaining to her that oftentimes our setups are based upon our tendencies, right? So certain people move the ball in certain places and there's tendencies. But like, if you watch DeChambeau hit a 9-iron, right? He might be playing that thing off his back toe, like this, right? Because he understands that concept better than most. Everybody's like, but isn't my ball supposed to be here? And he hits it to the moon from right there. So it has nothing to do with trajectory. He just knows that from here, he is gonna hit ball first, compress the hell out of it, start it to the right and draw it.
Control the hell out of it, right?
And he knows he's gonna do it every single time. And he also knows that this club has this much loft on it, so he can smash down on all he wants. It's not gonna go into the ground. So, understanding how to keep your swing direction relatively consistent, knowing where ball position can have a huge effect on trajectory, compression, whatever. Like, if you can get people to hit down on the golf ball, hit a negative attack angle, low point, find out where your low point is, which is back to my, like, understand that it's your left armpit, right? Anything back of your left armpit, short of you swaying, is going to create a downward angle of attack. Because this club is always just going to keep bottoming out to that same spot. Like that. It's always going to go there. So anything back of here is going to be ball first. Anything up here is going to be like a driver, right? Yep. So the tour players right now, if you watch golf on the British Open, you're going to see 99.9% of them are hitting a fade. What they're doing is they're making an identical golf swing. There's 3 golf balls back of their heel with their irons. And with the driver, they're there, but
which means their low point is now here. When it gets to the ball, it's actually starting to move up and to the left, and they're just basically rotating and hitting a pull. They're
Right.
essentially hitting a slight pull that fades.
Let it fall back, right?
From here, they're hitting a slight push, and it's drawing. Neither one of which required an alignment switch.
Right.
It was like push, draw,
Catch
pull,
it
cut.
here or catch it there.
With the exact same swing of the exact same grip.
Right.
And that is the difference. If we put this on a target line, right, we catch this towards the positive side, draw. After 0, now we catch it on the negative side of the path, fade. Right, and that's like, I had a lesson with Derek 2 weeks ago. He was hitting drivers, and his ball was over hooking. It was
Yes.
just, but his swing direction was awesome. But his club path was so far away from his swing direction. Like, I love like within 2, because then you get a tight little shot like that, right? He was like 6 away, because his ball position was too far back here, and the thing was over hooking. So we moved it, just moved his ball position up, we just slid it. Every other number stayed the same. His ball flight was now gorgeous because his club path changed. His overall swing didn't do anything.
If there was like an invention that just said set up, make a full swing, and at some point during that swing, a ball was just gonna pop up out of nowhere, right? It was like push draw, a little bit forward, went little and less draw, perfect, slight pull, a little bit more of a pull, high fade. And it's like with the exact same swing, with no different release, nothing crazy, all he's doing is at some point it's like push hook, push draw, pretty straight, really straight, slight pull, little bit bigger pull, little bigger pull, little bigger pull, pull slice. Exact same swing. No change in grip, no change in release, no change in concept. If you were blindfolded, you would not know which ball you were hitting, and they would all go differently. So along those same lines, we don't play golf off AstroTurf, right? What compensations would you make if you're on a downslope like this, right? So you've got this path now. Come over here, Z. So we've got this. I'll go to this side. So we're hitting it this direction, right? Ball is here, right? You got a path. What would you do then? So here's the ball.
I got it right.
Right. So
Yeah,
the ball's
right.
here. He needs to move that low point pretty. Yeah. Like he's got to figure out a way to orient his swing direction or his ball position, right? So we could move it back. We could get all the way back here, and all of a sudden you can see that angle of attack's really down. Or he can change his swing direction, which also makes it really down. Same is kind of true at an upslope, right? You got an upslope here.
Yeah.
Maybe you don't want to drill the ball into the ground, so you can actually lean it back a little bit or to the right and get the exact same concept. But golf's not played off of flat surfaces, so you do have to make little adjustments. But ball position is not it's just relative, right? It's like, here's a lie that requires me to be steeper. What do I do? Here's a ball position here's a shot where I need to hit it higher. What do I do? Like all those things are incredibly important, but low point, swing direction are intimately tied. So the best players in the world try to create one swing direction and move the ball around. Almost every shot hit off the ground on tour is 90% of them are draws, and 90+% are fades with the driver. All that tells you is they're making the exact same swing.
Right.
Exact same
Different
swing
ball
with different ball positions.
Any questions so far? There's a lot of info.
Yeah. I'm getting it.
Yeah. And also, I think this is why swing direction is also like number one, right? Like if you have somebody swinging like this, right? If you do all of those ball positions again, how many of them line up to be anything remotely good. How many of them can you hit straight?
Maybe the one on the right.
Maybe, if the face finally gets somewhere.
I'll give you an example, right? So Phil Poche, been a lesson here, member here for a long time, has worked on every aspect of his swing, but he has a couple of idiosyncratic things. Doesn't really like to mess with his grip too much, so he tends to play kind of more open face golf than closed face golf. And he's got a little bit of hip slide and a massive early release. So, I got him playing the best golf of his life by doing this. All right, Phil, you get to keep your grip. You get to keep your slide. You get to keep your open face. You got to keep all of that. But when he's set up, I move his ball position to there. Now all of a sudden, his little hip slide doesn't hurt him. He can early release it, but when he early releases it, if you stood right there, what you would see is his hands are technically ahead of that spoke. And all he has to do is make contact with the earth and he hits a push draw. And he's playing the best golf of his life because he's been trying to make that exact same move from here, right? So what does he do? He goes, I gotta figure out how to hold this, I gotta do this or whatever. And all we did is we moved that spoke back to there. Now you can see where the hands are. He's back, slamming it into the ground and hitting push draws. All that means is you can spend your entire life trying to change your physiology, or you can say, what is this person actually going to be able to do?
Yeah.
And the first thing that people say, like even when we moved you back yesterday, the first thing is like,
Really?
it feels like that's really far back in my stance or whatever. Like at the end of the day, TrackMan doesn't care. All it knows is when you were standing here earlier, a lot of your shots hit the screen right about here, right?
Mm-hmm.
And they kind of drew, and you know, you were saying, you know, I have an early release, I've got to fix my grip, I got to fix all that sort of stuff. But one thing is for sure, you put that ball on your right heel, good luck starting a ball over there. It ain't gonna happen, right? And so, last couple minutes, what I'd love for you guys to think about is what causes swing directions that are mismatches, right? Like, what is it? What are common reasons for a swing direction that is massively out to in? What would you say the very first one would be? This guy, right? This guy that's over there, right? What is the first reason that something like that would happen?
Swing direction.
What causes it?
Oh,
What causes the shit swing direction?
Angle of attack.
Beyond that, like what is happening to what's happening with his setup, especially, that is causing that?
The ball placement.
It can be that. What's even more early than that most of the time?
Alignment?
Grip, right? So as soon as somebody grips the club, say incorrectly, right? Everything they do now, this is sending the orders, right? So if Z and I were talking, like, if it was possible, you could teach anybody any grip, as long as you didn't have a golf ball to have to worry about. If somebody came to the Coach Z School of Golf and his guarantee was, after 1 year, I'll have you breaking 80. But you're not allowed to hit balls for 9 months. We could take any grip and figure out how to make the club move, how to make the person release, how to do all the things that make it happen. Because guess what? On the tour, you got Jordan Spieth, who's won 3 majors. You got Dustin Johnson. You got everything in between. So all of these can work, right? I like a slightly stronger grip, but there are players that need a slightly weaker grip. Point is, you have to say, how do I make that work? If you don't have this motion, you can't make it work. So could I teach that to somebody? Yeah, you absolutely could. If you have this grip and tried that exact same release, is that gonna work? No. So you gotta do the Spider-Man release, right? It looks more like that, right? Teach them that. And you can do that.
That's my favorite.
Grip is incredibly important. It tell it, the grip is the face. It is, golf is where the golf ball goes, right? Golf is not where your swing goes. Golf is where the golf ball goes. So the grip is face. And so if the first thing you do is you get somebody set up with a reasonable grip, right? Their trail arm is lower on the grip than their upper arm. If you look at someone's golf swing when they stand up there, they should look balanced in their lower body, balanced in their upper body, but because this shoulder is slightly lower on the grip, this arm is slightly lower. If you were to drop a plumb line from their buttons, it should be on this side of their body, right? Almost, I don't know of anybody in the world who sets up like that, right, and plays great. So everybody's got to be here or here. So what happens to somebody who sets up here?
They dig into the ground.
Right, so look at this. Right, slicing, right? What happens, when you get these two, what happens if somebody's here?
They're behind on it.
Where's the club going?
Right. Where, yeah.
Right. So you start going, okay, you can tell somebody here to stop doing that. Like stop swinging to the right. You can tell somebody here to stop swinging to the left. It's not gonna work, right? So if you tell somebody here to swing to the right, they're gonna go here, here, and the face is gonna be 75 degrees open. If you take somebody here and tell them to stop swinging to the right, swing to the left, they're gonna get here, come this way, and they're gonna hit the lowest duck hooks you've ever seen in your life. Don't try to like reinvent the wheel, but if you can just take the golf club away from them and just go set up with your hands like touching the pits of your knees and just go hand them a golf club, they're in great shape. That has the best chance of a club that travels back and down close to zero. This would be too much negative, that would be too much positive, all that sort of stuff. So that's what did Jason Bale say? No one's ever gotten worse from getting better with their setup, right? So get somebody set up like an athlete. This arm is slightly lower. Get them a reasonable grip, and then get out of their way and see what happens. From the down the line view, it's the same thing. They're tilting over from their waist, touching their knees. This one's a little lower. Boom. Never going to work with somebody who sets up like that. They plays horrible golf. But if this hand is too much this way, or this arm is too much this way, it's like, look what it does to the shoulders, right? It's right back to there again. If this grip is too strong, it does that. They can't overcome that, right? So that's why I think setup is so important, whether it's a grip or not. Like I've talked to outstanding teachers who all they do is teach pivot. They don't teach golf club just yet, right? And I've seen other people that all they do is they put a golf club in their hand and they just get people doing this, right? Just anything that just feels the golf club. Like you're doing it, like we're all doing it. If you're just standing around, like this is just something that's so easy for us to do, like this. It's an impossible thing for a beginner golfer to do. You ever do that just kind of like this? Like you're way to tee off? Like that is such an easy thing for us to do. But a beginner golfer has no sense of that.
How many times do I do that during a lesson too? I'm
Yeah, just like this.
Just going like this. And hit it.
Yep.
And
We can
how
add.
hard that is for people to
Yeah.
do that.
Yeah.
But then it's also really easy to go from here.
Yes, and
To
add
there.
some. You're 100%
And
right.
holy shit, they're like, oh my god, I can play golf now.
I think it's like some crazy amount of statistic
That is-
of the amount of speed that you create in your hands and arms.
Yep.
It's like if you can make the club go from here to like that, and then
90% of the speed.
yeah, like you could probably hit it pretty far that way, and then you just add a little turn, and it looks like a golf swing pretty easily. But fix people's setup. No one's ever going to take a lesson from you and say, boy, what did Bella work on? Well, she made my setup better. No one's gonna say, Jesus, what a waste of money. Like,
Right.
if you waste an hour trying to get rid of a slice, and you don't know where to start, and you don't know how to fix it, and the only thing you can say is, well, maybe we just strengthen their grip. Like, maybe, but you gotta, there's only a few numbers that really, really matter, and Z's right. You gotta be able to do it. No one can tell you TrackMan numbers without a TrackMan. What Z and I are pretty good at is telling us, okay, that's a little too right or a little too left, but I can't tell you what their path and face is. I can't tell you what their angle of attack is. No one can.
You can guess, like, you
You
start
can
to
guess.
get, I can guess within a couple
When they hit
degrees.
behind it, it's a pretty good indicator that it was behind
Right.
the ball.
Right.
But yeah,
Where the ball's starting immediately, like,
Yep.
we always set like something down, alright, judge yourself, where's the ball taking off?
Yep.
Immediate judge of what their face is it positive or is it negative?
Yep.
Like those little things, and I think that's, if you're deliberate with your station, if you're outside,
Yes.
you can bring TrackMan outside without bringing it outside.
That's why having a teaching station is so valuable, because they're coming into your environment, and your environment is set up for instruction. If you go to their environment, they've got balls everywhere,
Yeah,
and they're just like, where are you going? He goes, I don't know, let's just go to this one, and they go like this, and you go, okay, well, now I can't tell their ball position, I can't tell their alignment, I can't tell anything, and they can't either, and all they do is they hit up and they hit a ball towards the tennis court, and they go, see, that keeps happening.
Right.
And you go, well, you're aiming at the
What are
tennis
you
court,
aiming at, right?
congratulations. Like, I think stations are incredibly important. And even Denny McCarthy, who was here doing a putting thing, it's like the first thing he does every day is he sets up a putting station. Now, he's the best putter in
Best
the
putter
world.
in the world, right?
And he sets up a putting station to just check himself every single day. Because he wasn't born as a great putter, he built himself into a great putter. The same thing happens. If you understand how to set up a station, for me, it would be target line, ball position, and then understand what all of these ball positions do, right? For me, I like to shape the ball both ways. So if I keep my left foot here and my right foot here, if I have the ball here, that's pretty neutral for me. Forward of that is high cut, back of that is a lower draw. By the time I hit an iron, I can put that thing back there, and all that's gonna do is send it to right field and draw it. But my body's not, I'm not turning my body and doing all kinds of crazy things. It's like, get your grip, get your setup, check yourself in the mirror, and for me, it's like, okay, got it, perfect, boom. Do the simple little things. It's not about crazy complicated things, but if you've got somebody with a swing direction and a low point issue, know where to start, know how to fix it, and be patient. Best advice I could give you is don't overteach. If you could give somebody
Say less.
something to work on, and it doesn't work after one swing, don't give them two things to work on. Like, tell them to be patient, tell them, I'm instinctive about this. When somebody hits a bad shot, I say, perfect. Because their initial reaction is to like, be embarrassed or apologize. And I'm like, no, you did exactly what I asked you to do.
Your intention was right.
Yeah, I don't care where the ball goes. But if they go, oof, or, oh geez, I'm so sorry.
Let's go.
Let's go, that's perfect. Do it again. Golf is hard, man. No one gets great after 30 minutes. You're giving them a little bit of information. Come see you, Z. He can drop some fairy dust on them and make them great. But yeah, don't ever, if you're gonna come in here and work on your game or teach, put up 1 number, 2 number, 3 numbers maybe. There's no need to put up more than that. And if you're working on, if you're getting ready for a tournament, maybe put up carry. Figure out how far the ball's going. Because what percentage of your students know how far they carry their clubs? Yeah. Even the good players don't know. And I'll call like our women's first teamers good players, and every number they give me is total. How far do you hit your 500? Kirsten can. How far do you hit your 500? 140. Carry? Well, no, not carry.
But every
What
time,
the fuck are you hitting? How are you coming up with that number? But yeah, we should do this more often.
This is cool. Yeah.
This was good.
Yeah. Yeah, no, that's it. That's all
Thank
I got.
you.
I think too, like, last thing, swing direction. Again, why this has been so successful is because this neutralizes their swing direction right away. If it's skewed any direction, they're gonna hit this. That needle skews. I think this is always a good spot to start. Yeah, you got a frickin' breathe room here.
Patrick.
So close.
Wait, it's Patrick?
Yeah.
Pick your head up. It is you. Wow. All right. Have fun.
Right.
See you. Or I'll hang. Actually,
I
no.
think you should. Do you have something to do?
I do.
Okay.
Yeah. But I'll stop back in and
Please do.
I gotta get some more stuff together. Yeah, that was cool. Cool.
Thank you.
Hang in here for this lesson, if you can.
Alright, I'm I'm gonna go see if Lisa needs any help.
Good. Wow, that's next level good.
Question.
Numbers we want to look at today. I think the numbers that I want to look at for this young man is face the path. He's been hucking the ball a little bit. This is a pretty big one.
Overdone this just a little bit. I'm okay with what I noticed the other day. So remember how I told you I wanted your right arm to match the shaft, right? I think where I wanted you to go is I wanted you to be tilted enough that your arm got here. I think what you've done is you've stood taller
Yeah, that's